watching a film with friends, missing VHS videotape repeating.
Welcome back, fam and crew, creeps and peeps, to another video. Today we're looking at Assault on Precinct 13. Correction, John Carpenter's Assault on Precinct 13. I always said it would be funny to make a movie, like a biopic, like a biographical movie about John Carpenter, but use my name. So like instead, like, you know, John Carpenter's Halloween, John Carpenter's whatever, be like Brett Allen Coker's John Carpenter. It'd be funny. Fantastic movie. 1976. John Carpenter wrote and directed. This package and design is 1989 from United American Video of Charlotte, North Carolina. 3 out of 3.5 stars, a riveting thriller, Leonard Maltin. Of course, you got Austin Stoker, Darwin Johnston, Laurie Zimmer, Martin West, Kim Richards, who's the sister of Kyle Richards, who later on went to be in there you go, Halloween. She played, was it little Lindsay Wallace, but her other sister was in this movie. Love the artwork on this one. There's another edition we've seen before on the channel, which I don't have lined next to me, otherwise I'd show you. Maybe I'll throw up an image of it here, which was my first version that I ever owned. And then I found this one probably in the mid-2000s, maybe even the early 2010s at a vintage, not a vintage stock, but a highly collectible. A half-price books, so I wanted to have it in the collection because I like this artwork a lot better. Exciting, action, compelling, variety, taut, well-made, excellently acted. John Carpenter's best film out of the 2 or 3 he's made at that point. LA Times. Visuals drenched in exquisitely evocative danger. The Village Voice. Los Angeles. The Ghetto. 4 gang members swear a blood oath of vengeance after a brutal police ambush. Precinct 13 comes under siege as hordes of gang members erupt in all-out war. Blood is spilled as numbers of the force dwindle. A second onslaught is underway, and prisoners are released to help defend the station and their lives. Down to the last bullets, they make a last-ditch effort against the nearly invisible evil marauders who will bring the building and all inside to certain destruction. Loosely based on the Western classic Rio Bravo, this contemporary version is John Carpenter's Escape from New York, Halloween, They Live finest film. So they mentioned probably They Live because that came out, 88, so right before this VHS was released. So I'm trying to think, yeah, Dark Star before this. There was a Elvis TV movie before this. He didn't have a lot of movies. I know he wrote The Eyes of Laura Mars, but he didn't direct it. Fantastic movie. The visual look of this movie, the music of this movie. It's also, you can see the beginnings of Halloween. The look of Halloween, the feel of Halloween with that really wide 235:1 aspect ratio, the long takes, the really, panoramic views, very open, which is interesting because same thing with Halloween and with Assault on Precinct 13, it's very open, widescreen frame that John Carpenter likes to use, but you also feel really claustrophobic, like in Haddonfield with Michael Myers, you feel boxed in, and here you're obviously boxed in within Precinct 13. Now, I've stated it before, maybe I'm wrong, but I swear, I'll have to go back and get the footage and maybe insert it, that it's not actually Precinct 13. Because I think Austin Stoker receives a radio call to report to a precinct, and they say Division 9 Precinct 13. Now, unless there's some sort of police nomenclature or some sort of lingo that I'm unaware of, they say Division 9, or Precinct 9 Division 13 is what they say. So, I don't know. Let me know if you guys know more about that.
W20, I've got a temporary reassignment for you tonight, a little supervisory job for the police department. Proceed to Precinct 9, Division 13, and take over from Captain Gordon.
W90, yes sir. Proceeding to Precinct 9, Division 13.
So obviously this movie was also was a big influence from Dusk Till Dawn, which is why the character from Dusk Till Dawn wears a Precinct 13 shirt. Between this one and Halloween, I'd say these are probably my two favorites of early John Carpenter. But then again, that's all there was at the time. I mean, I like Escape from New York a lot. I like The Thing a lot. But there's just something really raw and visceral about this one. I remember when I picked this up, I think I rented it first before I ever bought the other edition. Maybe I bought the other edition first and watched it. My dad saw it, and he said he remembers watching it late at night on HBO back in like the late 70s, early 80s, and he was just like blown away by like how raw and violent it was, because that was kind of like new for the time. But Austin Stoker gives a great performance. Darwin Johnson is great. Laurie Zimmer. And of course, you also have What's-Her-Face. Nancy Loomis is in it before she was also in Halloween. This guy there went on to also be in Escape from New York. He might be in something else too. But I really dig this movie a lot. I love the music. I love the visual look of it. It's definitely one of John Carpenter's, I'm going to say best films, but visually it's really cool. Plus with this one, I thought it was such an interesting thing that when the shootout happens, and most of the guns have silencers. So it just changes that thing you expect into something completely different. And just the vibe of it is just pretty great. So if you haven't seen this one, definitely check it out. If you have seen it a bunch of times like I have, let me know your thoughts below. As always, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Alright, slight addendum. I found that footage I was talking about where they say Division 9, Precinct 9, Division 13, Precinct 9, or whatever it is that they say. And I always forget until I watch this movie. I always notice it every time I watch it. But you're looking through I'll show the clip. But in the background, there's a woman driving by, and she looks over and she sees like the camera. And so she kind of speeds up at least like twice to try and be in the shot. Watch it a couple of times and you'll see it.
1W20, this is Steady. So how's it going so far, Lieutenant?
Isn't that the Anderson precinct?
Affirmative.
Addendum 2. I have Assault on Precinct 13 playing on VHS on the TV behind me while I'm recording videos. And I've never watched the 1989 VHS release. I've always watched the 1995 widescreen release. So watching this older one that's pan and scan, full frame, looks so weird. Watching it, in the TV format with the square frame is so different than watching it in the beautiful 235:1. It makes it a completely different experience. So if you're ever going to watch this movie on VHS, watch the 1995 version.